Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Grappone Drive. Thanks for watching. I'm Hollis from Grappone, and today we have the 2017 Mazda 6 Grand Touring, and there's a new feature that's standard on every Mazda 6 this year. It's called G vectoring control. So we're going to talk about that as well as some of the other changes that you're going to find on this year's model. Standard on every Mazda 6 this year is the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder SkyActiv engine. You're going to get 184 horsepower out of it, 185 pound-feet of torque. Now today we have the 6-speed automatic transmission mated up to it. With that you get 26 miles per gallon in the city, 35 on the highway, or a combined 30 altogether. You can get on the Grand Touring here with the premium package the i-ELOOP regenerative engine braking, which helps to up that gas mileage, so you get 27 in the city and 36 on the highway, 30 combined. And then with the manual transmission you get 24 in the city, 28 on the highway, and 25 combined, something like that. I'll make sure that's all in the specs, but it's a very responsive engine. That SkyActiv technology, all they've put into it to help reduce weight and whatever, really does make a difference, and we're going to see how responsive it is along with the transmission that has the nice paddle shifters on the steering wheel and whatnot today as we drive around. It's front wheel drive, standard on all of them, but that's great around here, especially once the snow hits. This is the inside of the Grand Touring model of the 6. They all look the same, but because we have the Grand Touring, we have the most options. And it's a great cabin. Everything has a really nice high quality feel and look to it, honestly. There's no spots that feel cheap, I guess is the best way to put it, which I really appreciate, especially given the price point of the car. So the base Mazda 6 starts under 22 grand, which is really awesome. So a lot of creature comforts here. They've added more even to it this year. We have the nice heads-up display. It's now full color, whereas before it was just a few colors. That too now has the traffic sign recognition system. So as we're going down the road, and I already saw it working, it shows up on my head-up display what the speed limit sign is. It takes a picture of it and puts it up on the dash, and then puts it right next to what I'm actually doing, so that I know that I am within the speed limit that I should be, which is really cool. I've got paddle shifters here and the very nice comfortable steering wheel, which is tilt telescope, which is fantastic. I have auto lights, auto wipers, all of my controls for audio, and the information screen up here in the dash, which I can press and change. My Bluetooth is here, my laser guided cruise control is all here, so everything is nicely at hand. And all of the switches, everything has a nice high quality feel to it. On this up level model, it all has the bright silverwork finish on it, which is something nice. It adds just a little bit of extra sparkle to it, which actually kind of makes the whole cabin feel more upscale. All of the windows are auto up down, something that I greatly appreciate. I think it just makes sense. We've got our dual zone climate control, heated seats, the touchscreen navigation system, which can also be controlled here with this center, almost iDrive like from BMW system. It's very convenient to use with some redundant buttons that work extremely well as a dedicated volume knob, which makes life much easier than having to fiddle through a bunch of different options to get through. There's the nice sunroof here. It's now LEDs up here in these lights for the Grand Touring model, the auto dimming mirror and whatnot. What's cool too is if you get the premium package, which is available on this GT model, that adds new things this year, such as a heated steering wheel. It adds heated rear seats on the 2 outboard positions. There's weird things like surrounding the shifter is LED lighting. There's something different with the grille. It adds Napa leather instead of just the regular standard leather here on these sport seats, which by the way are powered, and this one has the memory for the seats, the mirrors, and the head-up display. So if you change the angle of it, it remembers that with your seating position. The seats are super comfortable. They're nicely bolstered because they are sport seats. I really like them. They're very good. And driving around, I have good visibility all around. There's a bit of a blind spot where the D pillars are in the back, but other than that, really not bad. And because it has the blind spot monitoring here in this model, that's going to be taken care of anyways. So it's a great cabin up front. And now let's check out the back. The Mazda 6 is a family sedan, so it's likely that you're going to be putting kids or at the very least other people back here. And you know, it's honestly not a bad place to be. It's a very comfortable seat. I like the angle of the seat back, and it has a nice, I can't say bolstering because it's a rear seat, but it's padded well. It's very, very comfortable. I can put my feet underneath the seat, which is great, and as you can see, there's plenty of knee room. This is set to how it was when I was just driving a few minutes ago. We do have our own air vents back here on the GT. If we had the GT with the premium pack, we would have heated seat controls right here, but even still, in our center armrest, we do have cup holders back here, which is great. It's a large back seat. We each have our own headrest that we can adjust, and there's a good amount of headroom. So we do have the moonroof here, which intrudes pretty well. But I've got about a fist, so if you're taller than me, I'm 5'7", you might have a little bit of a closer time. It might be a little tight, but again, that's because we have the moonroof here. If you don't have that, that's going to open up more. But it's a nice, comfortable place back here. I like it, and it looks nice. It still continues all the high quality feel of everything. Everything that you see and touch has a good, nice touch to it. It's not cheesy or anything, which is really great, especially considering it's a family car. It's nice. There are 3 different ways that you can open the trunk here in the Mazda 6. One of them is a push button in the car. The other is underneath the trunk lip there. You can just press it open, or you can do it here on the remote. Just press and hold, and it pops open for you. Once you open it up, you'll notice, I'm taking these floor mats out, a very, very cavernous rear trunk, which is great because, again, this is marketed as a family sedan. So you're going to have kids stuff to put in the back. You're going to have luggage if you're going away for a trip. You're going to want to be able to fit all of that in, and you'll be able to without a doubt. There are nice trays here on each side. The left one is even deeper, so you can put things in. They won't slide all around. And that rear seat is a 60-40 split. So if you needed more room than this offers, you can split fold either of those seats down, and you'll get more room and still be able to carry your passengers with you. Once you're done, grab the handle, shut it, and you're all good to go. So we're driving here downtown Concord, and I'm having more fun testing out the automatic braking system than anything else. So far, I panicked every time and hit the brakes myself. Although once it did tell me to brake, and it flashed up on the heads-up display and beeped at me. I don't know why, because it would have been fine, but what's cool is that in my heads-up display, it shows a little picture of a car when there's one in front of me, and it shows the distance bars and how close I'm getting to it, and then if I get too close, according to the car, it lets me know to brake, and then if I still haven't, it'll take over and do it for itself. But we do have the Smart City auto braking here in this version of the 6, so I don't really have to worry about any of the pedestrians and the cars that are backing up or whatever, because the car will make sure that it stops if someone runs out in front of me real quick, which is awesome. But it's just kind of nice driving down through Concord. It's a good test of how that system works, as well as being able to pay attention to the various things that are going on around you. It's extremely busy today, actually. It's lunchtime. And it's a good test, too, of the suspension, because there's a lot of potholes down here and manhole covers and whatnot, and it soaks them up fine, which is really great. So just wanted to quickly run down here. We're going to take some back roads too to see how it handles with that new G vectoring control and go from there. It handles really well for a front wheel drive car. I've got the transmission in sport. I put it in manual, and I went around that corner at a significantly faster pace than you would imagine a front-wheel drive car can do. In fact, I went around that almost as fast as I did in the Mustang video, which is a clearly different vehicle, but this handled it beautifully. That G vectoring, you can feel it. What that does, it's a totally computer-oriented system. That's all it is. It's just electronics, so that's why Mazda can make it standard in all of their SkyActiv vehicles now. So what that does is it actually measures the steering input and the throttle input and what the driver is doing, and changes where the torque is going for the front end. So when you're going into a corner, it will, for a split second, decrease the torque to the power, or to the drive wheels, to the front, in this case the front wheels, so that it will allow more grip to be put on the front, and then it releases more to the back so that the back end stays down, all within milliseconds, so that it's totally unperceptible by the driver, but you have this totally fluid, very confident feeling in the corners, and I definitely can say that it worked. This is, as you know if you've watched any of our videos, one of my favorite back roads to drive, because it's a good test of hills and corners, long sweeping corners, little sharp corners, and it also puts the suspension through its test while it's doing that, because it's not the smoothest road in the world, but it's handling this very well. It's very nicely planted to the ground. Those 19-inch rims that we're riding on are definitely helping that out significantly. And the transmission shifted beautifully. It didn't hesitate. It let me go all the way up to red line before it shifted, and in fact it didn't even shift. It just kept it there, and I put it back into just regular drive, and then it shifted down again. So kudos to Mazda for really proving that you can have a family sedan that's fun, and really allowing their DNA to come through. I'm impressed with that. That's great. The last bit of our journey that I want to show you today is highway driving. This is probably the coolest car I've ever driven on the highway. I have the laser guided cruise control set for 60 miles an hour, and I came up behind a tractor trailer and this pickup truck, so it slowed me down because they were going a little bit slower than that, and then it brought me back up. It warned me that we were getting close and that it was going to do that on my heads-up display. I have traffic that keeps passing me in the left, and my blind spot monitor lights up in the, not only the mirror, but also on my heads-up display. This is the coolest heads-up display I've ever seen. It has so much information going on it in one little compact thing that I'm not having to take my eyes off of the road for. It's fantastic. I have my current speed, I have my speed limit, I have how close I am to the car in front of me, I have my lanes, and it's watching to make sure that I don't go off one way or the other, and if I do, the lane departure assist will correct me and bring me back into the middle of the lane. I have the blind spot monitoring that pops up on there. It's just phenomenal. This is the easiest driving vehicle on the highway I've ever been in, but yet it still feels so connected. I know that I'm controlling the steering, and that if I have to hit the brakes or the gas, I can. There's not going to be any intervention in that. You know, it's not like Mazda's trying to take that control away from me. It feels super, super confident here on the highway, very planted and firm. It's a nice hushed ride. Well, there you have it, 2017 Mazda 6 Grand Touring. It's a great vehicle. I think it's one that many people overlook, and it's too bad, because many people just assume that the Honda Accord or the Toyota Camry are the family sedans to go to, but Mazda has a wonderful sporty family sedan here to go to, so it's definitely one of those to cross-shop as you're looking. As always, I'm Hollis from Grappone. Thank you so much for watching this week's edition of Grappone Drive. I'll see you next week.